Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Secretary. It's always good to have another Iowan who's championing not just agriculture, but serving in our government here. Sir, I want to first off begin with E15. I want to highlight the fact that are you first of all aware, Secretary, that the EPA has recently announced a proposed rule that would allow the year-round sale of E15?
Yes.
Are you further aware that that does not go into effect until 2024?
Yes.
Do you realize that by pushing this out until 2024, we're missing out an entire summer that would basically result in the lack of 1,888 new jobs, $20 billion reduction in consumer motor fuel spending, and would prevent a $66.3 billion contribution to our nation's GDP by not having year-round E15 starting this year?
You're making an assumption that we may not have it. I'm not willing to agree to that at this point in time.
Thank you, Secretary, because I'm very much on the same page with you. I think we do need to move forward on this. The EPA has the ability to move forward with emergency powers.
Right.
Would you support year-round E15 starting this summer?
I always have.
Very good. I'd like to move forward then on our rural broadband programs. Both you and I worked together in the state of Iowa on making sure that Iowa had access to rural broadband, but still 1/3 of Iowa counties sit in broadband deserts. USDA has a huge opportunity here to be a leader in this, and Congresswoman Spanberger and myself, through bipartisan efforts, have pushed forward with the support of 83 members, a House Appropriations Committee, urging Chairman Granger and Ranking Member DeLauro to provide adequate funding for our rural broadband programs. Are you also committed to making sure that high-speed internet for all of our rural communities is something that USDA will stand with us on?
I'm pleased that we are, the $2 billion, roughly $2 billion that was allocated under the bipartisan infrastructure law to USDA for the Reconnect program, that we will have all those resources obligated by this summer. And those are the first resources under the bipartisan infrastructure law for expanded access that will actually be obligated. I'm looking forward to our colleagues in the Department of Commerce and FCC working collaboratively with states to make additional resources, $63 billion of additional resources available. States are obviously going to play a very big role in making sure that the unserved or underserved areas receive the benefits of those once these maps are completed. So I look forward to continued working with our Reconnect program, but I think the real big opportunity is with the additional resources under the infrastructure law.
So in Iowa, obviously, we know where those needs are. We allocated $300 billion of our own money towards it. We look forward to the federal government actually allocating those resources forward so they can actually go to those communities. I'd like to move on to pesticides here. In November of 2022, the EPA issued a proposal, an intermediate decision, restricting the use of common rodenticides. The USDA then provided a comment to this rule stating that proposed restrictions on the use of rodenticides would devastate U.S. agriculture, resulting in potential loss of rodent control, increased crop damage, and spread of animal and human diseases. Mr. Secretary, do you agree that these restrictions would result in the loss of rodent control? And have you personally been in contact with the EPA about restricting the use of those rodenticides?
The process that we use, Congressman, is for our office that works on these issues to work collaboratively with the EPA to provide them information, which we have done and which we'll continue to do. The reality is, at the end of the day, the decision is obviously the EPA's, and it's then our responsibility at USDA to figure out if there are ways in which we can use the conservation resources or other resources at USDA to provide help and assistance to comply with whatever regulation EPA is adopting.
Well, Mr. Secretary, I appreciate that, and I know that you do a great job of listening to people across this country on this. Representative Budinsky and myself, a Democrat from Illinois, we have a number of these type of issues that are very acute for our communities. We would offer you the opportunity to come out to either Illinois or Iowa in a bipartisan fashion and hear again firsthand from individuals in your home state and mine on why this is so important to them. And I guess I would ask, we've tried to communicate several times. I know you've got a very busy schedule on this, but would you commit to coming out and joining us here in the Midwest to hear firsthand from farmers on these issues?
Congressman, I live in the Midwest.
As do I.
And I have talked to a lot of farmers in the Midwest. I'm happy to come out, and obviously I'll be in Iowa from time to time, and I'll be in Illinois from time to time, and I make myself available to farmers all the time. We're acutely aware of the issues that are out there.
I yield my time back. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.